Before we get started, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you love cinema as much as we do. Hit the bell so you won't miss our deep dives into the work of the greatest directors of all time. And today's subject, Paul Thomas Anderson, with the release of his new film One Battle After Another. It's the perfect moment to revisit the evolution of one of contemporary cinema's most fascinating auteurs. Anderson's journey starts with Hard Eight. The opportunity came after his short cigarettes and coffee caught attention at Sundance in 1993. Invited to the filmmakers lab, Anderson shot key scenes that would eventually form his first feature. Already, traces of his style were visible. Long takes, complex character dynamics, and a world of gamblers and drifters reminiscent of Jean-Pierre Melville's Bob the Gambler, 1956. But it was Boogie Nights that announced him as a major new voice. Inspired by his own mockumentary short, The Dirk Diggler Story, the film charts the rise and fall of the adult film industry from the creative highs of the 70s to the garish decline of the 80s, echoing his admiration for filmmakers like Scorsese and Altman. It resurrected Burt Reynolds' career, though Reynolds himself had mixed feelings and nodded to Scorsese's Raging Bull. Anderson was only in his late 20s, but his command of the ensemble cast and kinetic style was remarkable. If you think this was ambitious, wait until you hear what he did next. With Magnolia, Anderson embraced Robert Altman's influence even more directly. A sprawling ensemble narrative, much like Shortcuts, it wove together multiple stories of love, regret, and fate in Los Angeles. It featured powerful performances from Jason Robards and Tom Cruise. Anderson, a longtime admirer of Robards, gave the actor one of his last great roles. And here's a fun bit of trivia. Ingmar Bergman himself admired Magnolia, even as the film carried echoes of Bergman's own cries and whispers. Then came an unexpected turn, punch-drunk love. After the epic scope of Magnolia, Anderson stripped things down to a peculiar romantic comedy starring Adam Sandler. Here, the influence of Jerry Lewis is unmistakable, seen both in Sandler's awkward mannerisms and in his iconic blue suit. At the same time, Altman's Popeye hovers in the background through the use of its whimsical score. And beneath its offbeat romance lies a true story. Anderson was inspired by a Time magazine article about an engineer who gamed a pudding promotion to earn millions of frequent flyer miles. But the director wasn't done experimenting. His next film would redefine his place in cinematic history. There Will Be Blood is a towering achievement. Loosely adapted from Upton Sinclair's Oil, it follows Daniel Plainview, played by Daniel Day-Lewis in one of the greatest performances of the 21st century. Anderson watched John Huston's The Treasure of the Sierra Madre every night before filming. That influence shows in the film's harsh landscapes and moral reckoning. Its power was undeniable. The Guardian later ranked it the best film of the century so far. In The Master, Anderson explored post-war America through the relationship between a traumatized veteran, Joaquin Phoenix, and a charismatic leader reminiscent of Scientology's founder, played brilliantly by Philip Seymour Hoffman. The film also drew inspiration from Huston's documentary, Let There Be Light, which examined the psychological wounds of war. Once again, Anderson combined historical resonance with intensely personal drama. With Inherent Vice, Anderson took on Thomas Pynchon. This sun-drenched neo-noir set in the early 70s recalls Robert Altman's The Long Goodbye. More faithful to Pynchon's text than There Will Be Blood was to Sinclair. The film embraced paranoia, stoner humor, and the haze of a vanished California. Then came Phantom Thread, a meticulous study of obsession and control. Returning to collaborate with Daniel Day-Lewis, Anderson crafted a film that feels like a modern echo of Kubrick's Barry Lyndon. Every frame is elegant, every gesture loaded with tension. Most recently before his new film, Anderson gave us Licorice Pizza. Set in the San Fernando Valley of the 1970s, it's a nostalgic portrait of youth, hustling, and first love. The film explicitly nods to American graffiti and can be compared to Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Both works come from directors deeply in love with cinema. especially the cinema of the 1970s. And both are set in a period that has become an obsession for them. The story itself, loosely inspired by a real-life moment Anderson witnessed, stars Cooper Hoffman, son of his longtime collaborator Philip Seymour Hoffman, making it one of his most personal films yet. From Hard Eight to Licorice Pizza, and now one battle after another, Paul Thomas Anderson has continually reinvented himself, yet always remained unmistakably himself. His films carry the DNA of cinema's greatest influences: Altman, Huston, Kubrick, Melville. Yet they are distinctly original, deeply personal, and endlessly rewatchable. So what's your favorite PTA film? Is it the operatic madness of Magnolia, the searing intensity of There Will Be Blood, or the bittersweet nostalgia of Licorice Pizza? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe for more deep dives into the masters of cinema, and check out our other auteur analyses right here on the channel. Because with Anderson, as with all great filmmakers, every film is not just a story. It's a world waiting to be discovered.